Guys, so we're on part 2. I did do a little bit last night after part 1. So the first notable thing here is I kind of half-assed put the LED in there. Just because this one came out of a mouse. I'm very resourceful like that. This is the actual trackball that makes the mouse work, but it's super bright for an LED. So we're going to have to solder that together. Again, you probably won't be able to hear me very well. I'll try to talk down in here. As you can see, I ran the horn wire there. That did not come with it, and that's why I changed this with the VX from my original video. I did go back and look, and it appears that was probably the reason I changed it. So we got that. We ran a few more wires up here. We got the clutch pedal pretty much wired up, and I'll go ahead and show you how that works. So to show you that the clutch is not bypassed, we're going to go ahead and try to start it with the key here. So there's the key. I'm going to go ahead and push the clutch. So as you can see with the clutch pushed, it will try to start. I'm going to take my foot back out, and we're going to go ahead and give this a hot for now, if I can find one. God, this is hard to do. I need a hot. Okay, here. We can use the cigarette lighter. Oh, I gotta put the fuses back in. Alright, so with that said, I have the green wire going to that clutch pedal. Listen. You heard it click, so now I should be able to turn the key. And start it right up. So that's a clutch bypass. That's where we are for so far. So all I gotta do is get a couple more of these wires extended and draw our horn wires and things of that like, and then we should be good. Alright, so this is what we're dealing with. Rain. Luckily the Samsung S8 is waterproof, and we're about to challenge that theory now. So I had to come in, unfortunately. Kind of fucked up my mode here. I want to give you guys a status update on this bitch. So it is literally apart. And I mean all the way apart. Like if I don't get out here before the night's over, like a part where I'm not going to be able to go to work tomorrow. And it's right after the holiday. Everybody's going to be expecting me to be there tomorrow. But, oh, not tomorrow, Tuesday. But I found the original Viper. Oh, you guys can't hear me. I found the original Viper. Neither one wants to power up right now. And I think it's because I have it programmed to be in passive mode, where you physically have to have the key fob. And the main important thing I did not stop to think about is bringing the transmitter fob from my mom's house over in Detroit. So I got the speedo out as well. I cleaned up some of the glass that was in there from prior video. And what's going to need to happen is I got to run 3 wires out to the hood. We're going to have the tack wire, the hood pin wire, and there was one more. Oh, the siren itself. And that you know, now that I'm looking at this brain, this is the 2-way brain, this is a 1-way brain. They have the same wiring. I actually use that brain because it has the horn flash output, which you just tie it to your steering column, horn wire, and it'll go something like that. So we still got to run the RCA things while I have the radio out. I got that in the house. I got the dashboard in the house. I got all this stuff in the house so I can get some work done. Figure out why the light bulbs went out in the cluster. I think they just, when I was banging the plastic piece off, I think it took a shit there. This corner trim does have some bolts there. Again, all my tools are in Detroit. So, yeah, I don't understand why I can't even put it in programming mode. The next step's going to be to find the parking light wire, which I believe is this brown one right here at the end. Nope, this one. This brown one. If the diagram is correct. And then I got to figure out what the polarity of that is. I did get the theatrical dimming done. And the bitch about this is when I hit the pin or close the door, it's like a 5-second delay before that goes off. So I'm hoping the programming options will have an option in this alarm for delayed arm to wait for the theatrical dim. But I think if it doesn't, what's going to happen is it's going to trigger, go to arm, and then think the door's left open. So I might have to physically wait 5 seconds, stand by my car and wait 5 seconds before I can arm it. So I got to find a way around that. I'm going to Google that now. theatrical dimming on this car. And then I hope I got all the ignition wires here right. I did hot wire it, and I did check to make sure all the wires have power. But it does. It's just weird. If I push the valet switch with nothing, the LED's not coming on or doing anything. So I won't know until this rain stops. I can finish running the rest of the wires. Maybe one of the wires that's missing is absolutely needed, like the neutral safety switch. I got the brake wire in since that's connected, and basically that one registered hot when I pressed the brake, so that's done. I'm gonna have to check the polarity on the lights. At least once I get the parking lights hooked up, then I'll be able to see, you know, it'll flash. And I'll probably end up hooking up an auxiliary to one of the buttons on the key fob to turn the headlights on. See, that's something else about installing it yourself. Yeah, it may take longer. In this case, I'm on day 2 just because of the weather and the time I started. But the cool thing about doing it yourself, you can hook all that advanced stuff up. You can put your sensors where you want. We got the antenna mounted right tip top of the window, which I just used, as you can see right there, I got some caulk remover, but I used caulk to put it up there. And the only reason I use caulk is the window's going to come out eventually. So on this particular vehicle, we put the door pin right there. So that not only works for arming and disarming, I verified all doors. It also works for the courtesy light. So after you disarm it, the dome light will come on whether the door is opened or not. So that's it for now. Unfortunately, we are dealing with Mother Nature. Cool thing is that there's trees out here, so I'm not getting too wet. But if you look over this way, we got a storm advisory coming in. This is bad. I'm getting wet now. But underneath the trees, it's actually not so bad. Getting an idea. I'm not getting wet. So I might end up... This is more wires. I'm going to look through this and find out if I have another brain, maybe. That'll work with the key fobs I have on me. I could change it later. But it helps when you put an alarm in to make sure you have the fob for it. Hey, what's up, guys? So... decided to come back out, and boy, it's the Memorial Day weekend, and I do miss not having to get up and go to work every day throughout the week. One of the advantages is, like, it was raining, I went in, did a little bit of work that I could do inside, realized that it wasn't going to stop raining, and was able to take a nap. So now I can stay up as late as I need to get this done. So here's what we did post this video. We got the wire ran up there that goes to the dashboard thing I showed you earlier in the video. That's going to have the 2 USBs and the radar. So now here's how we're going to fish them in. I ran them. They got the quick disconnects here. This one here is just going to go to ground, and then one is going to be an ignition hot and a switched hot. Now, I didn't get to show you guys this quick job. This here is the factory radio clip that was on the basket, and we were able to, these wires were really damaged. I mean, hard to strip back. But I basically put the clip for the Android in-dash there. So just so later on, if I want to put a stock radio in here, I can. Not to mention, it just keeps things clean. But if you notice, I took the tape off these. We're going to put something like this in there. One on the direct hot that's always on, and one on the ignition. And I'll show you when I get it all done what this extra step is for. And then while I have the radio out, we're going to go ahead and run the RCAs, the remote turn on, and the power wire for the first stage of amps going in. It'll be the vocals. And I'll probably have it run the rears for now, just because they're in the back and they're easier to get to. And then later on, what I'll do is take and do what I did in the Neon. Use the back speaker wires to feed the front speaker wires, and then just tie them together up here. I'll show you guys a video on that too. It saves a lot of work running the wires. Those people wanting to run a vocal amp and then don't want to run speaker wires, you just take the rear channel speakers and tie them up here like you would hook them to the radio. Just hook the rear speakers to the front speakers. So basically, there's nothing hooked here. It's just a jump, and it goes straight from the front speakers to the back of the car. And that'll allow you to hook your amp up to where the old stock wires were for the speakers. Usually they would supply speaker power to the speakers, but because you're jumping them up here, it's just basically in the back, allowing you to connect the front speakers. And it's not the best way because it's actually going all the way from the back to the center console to the front door speakers, but it does work, and I've ran high powered through it, depending on how good your stock wires are. Anyway, that's a whole nother video I'm getting into. Let's go ahead and get this hooked up, and we're going to go ahead and replace the bulbs in the cluster, do those. I got my trusty light out here. It's a little thing I made out of an old lamp, and one of these LED lights. It works great because it's omnidirectional. It's spot on. So we're going to go ahead and get the tester, test these to find out which one is the ignition hot, the direct hot, and so forth, and we'll take it from there. I'm having the worst weekend. So I got this done. As you see, I loomed the wires very nice, close to the original, with the exception of those two connectors that run up. So that's in. Got the factory stock ready. I got my little light going, which is helping, but it ain't going to do shit against the rain. And then I have all these wires under here. I'm going to have to do some type of cable management on these little loose ones like that one there. I just found out I had the wires coming off the harness. I used different color wires in the neon, so I assumed yellow was the actual dome light, but it was just happened to be yellow I used on the neon. So I fixed that, and I should be able to program it, but the reality of it is, one, it's starting to rain out here, and two, I can't find my fucking keys again. If you're watching this video and you don't like me using bad words, please post it in the comment section. I'm making a lot of lifestyle changes, and one, my daughter actually suggested. She said, "Daddy, you're on Musical.ly, and you know, you're appealing to not only your adult crowd, but to also kids that may be interested in the stuff you do, and maybe I should use different words instead of saying bad words." So if you're one of those people that agree with my daughter, just put that in the description in the bottom. But on a serious note, guys, I'm almost done. I got to find the keys, and we can do a little bit more test. I got like the three wires to run out to the hood. I explained that earlier, and I don't have any wire to do that. Not really worried about the hood pin right now, and I'm not worried about the siren because I have the horn, but I would love more than anything to at least get it to where if the door's open, the horn beeps, and this little light right here flashes. But this... And if you know what this is a diode. And if your vehicle's like mine and it has the theatrical or delayed dome light, you'll know this by when you close the driver's door, all the doors, the dome light will stay on and then it'll like fade off. That can cause problems for some alarms. So what you have to do, and if anybody is interested in this as well, I can do a further segment on this, maybe draw some diagrams. But what you're going to do is basically pull your triggers from both the left and the right door, and you can use a voltmeter to test if it's a four-door like mine, you should be able to know which side is which by when you open the door, the voltage will come up. And you can Google it. Like I Googled 2001 Saturn, and then it basically said that the gray and the green and black, the gray and black and the green and black were at the BCM right on the dashboard. And I tested those with a voltage meter and was able to confirm that those were them. The problem is you have two signals that are negative triggers and only one input on the alarm. So that's where these come in. And then you go get some of this, which is heat shrink tubing. Once you solder your diodes in place, you just throw that over it, and then you can go ahead and hit it with a lighter. And you'll have a really nice... Be the finished product. If you notice, I tied a knot in the end of this, just so I know which side is the cathode and which one is the anode. So I put the knot so I can determine that. Basically, you don't have to have a lot of electric skills. If you put it on one way and it doesn't work and there's no current going through it, then just flip it around. Intentionally doing this part at night, and I lost a lot of footage on the install, but as you can see, that's the red LED that was inside a mouse. So I'm going to disarm it. You'll see that the illuminated entry is working. Still have to manually unlock it with a key till I get the electric actuator. Just had to pull the radio back out. Let's see if we can get some light here. I know there's a way to do it. I never can figure this damn thing out. I know there's a way to make it where there's light. So, yeah, that's how it looks. Never looked that bright. That dinging's a little annoying. Even got the lights up here working that never worked. Compliments of the old Lobo Speedo. Luckily they fit. But down here, right in there, where it's dark right now, there actually is, it comes stock with a LED bulb. So I'm going to get a bunch of them and upgrade it again and make it even brighter. But Night and day difference, and I still can dim it if I wanted to.